So yeah, keep an eye out for those. You know, go to my YouTube, subscribe and notify, and it'll tell you when I'm going live. And yeah, I will be doing. I will be trying to be more aware of that and do more Asia-friendly streaming. Mansi, I think you're new, so I appreciate you joining us. Mansi is from Bangalore, India. Welcome. Patrick shares Rocky Top is the nickname for the Community College of Tennessee. Cool, good for you, Patrick. Sounds like a fine community college. Okay, Joseph Hernandez says, "Yep, it's in East Tennessee," and I guess that's the yup for the Smoky Mountains. But yeah, I'm gonna assume it's there. Okay, Saketh said, "Sorry, I wasn't clear. I'm looking for your Discord. I would be glad to join the community." So Saketh, look just a couple messages earlier in the chat. I believe that Patrick posted that. Well, actually, he posted it on YouTube. So I will, you know what, Saketh, later today, I will post a new story with a link to the Discord. I've actually been meaning to do that. Because, you know, I really want to thank all of you for being so active in there. Again, 54 people already in there, so I'm gonna advertise that on my Instagram later. So look for that later today. I promise to do that. And Abdul is making sure he checked in on YouTube. Very cool. All right, guys. So if you're joining us late, feel free to introduce yourself: city, state, province, country. But I want to go ahead and get into the project idea, because a lot of you guys approach me about projects, and you know, a lot of you ask for it in the chat. You know, surely you guys have seen that in the chat where people pop in and say, "Hey, you know, what's a project idea, so on and so forth." So I'm gonna do that today, and yeah, so let's start with that. So when it comes to data science project ideas, if you've watched my content before, you know that I'm usually hesitant to do that. I'm usually hesitant to do that because coming up with your own project idea is really a wonderful opportunity for all of you to exercise your creativity, right? It's a great way for you to kind of apply your view of data, your view of data science to basically anything you want in the real world, right? So I'm usually hesitant to do that. But today I want to show you an idea for a couple of reasons. One, because for somebody with my experience, I get ideas all the time, right? I see all kinds of ideas all over the place. But I don't always have the time to do them, you know, and as I'm getting older and all, you know, I kind of feel like I'm running out of time, right? So sometimes you have to start giving away project ideas because I want to put my focus and energy on other things, right? I don't always have time for all the ideas that come my way. And the second reason is because if I walk you through this, maybe I can kind of set up a framework for all of you to think about how you would approach these things in the future, right? So the intent of today's session is to kind of help you with that framework. I'm not necessarily opposed if you go ahead and copy this exact project, because I think there's so many different facets to it. But, you know, where you really win, where, you know, you as an individual win, is when you say, okay, yeah, Dennis showed me the framework, but here's how I'm gonna, you know, develop it using my own tools, my own data, my own projects, and kind of take it from there, right? I mean, that's what I really am encouraging all of you to do. Because remember, my whole point of doing content creation is to help the next generation of data scientists, right? You know, this is me after many years in the industry, having a long career. This is me reaching my hand back and helping, you know, all of you also come up and, you know, kind of come into your own right as a professional data scientist. So I'm going to walk us through that today. You're welcome to look at this project idea and build on it, or, you know, just understand the framework. You're welcome to join the Discord, and you know, maybe you're going to find a partner there that you want to collaborate with. Maybe you want to share your findings. Maybe you get stuck on something. So feel free to join the Discord also, and, you know, kind of contribute there. Okay, so I prepared these slides, and you're going to have to forgive me if we spot any errors, because I prepared them just prior to starting this session, because I'm being spontaneous. You know, I can come up with this stuff in a couple minutes, so it's just, I'm just being spontaneous, decided, you know, to do this. So what is a good project that we can add to our portfolio? And also, I hesitated to use the word portfolio here because you shouldn't be thinking about this as just like something you're going to use to send to a recruiter or for a hiring cycle or for interviews. That's not really the point. The point of a project is to develop yourself as a data scientist, right? I often talk about doing the work, putting in the time, dedicating yourself to the profession. If you're really serious about that, then you're doing projects all the time. I find myself doing projects, tons of them. Most of them don't really see the light of day. Sometimes I might stop at a certain phase because I wasn't enjoying it or I wasn't liking where the findings were going or things like that. But the point of this is to just kind of, keep on developing your skills, keep on working on your craft, right? But generally speaking, we want something that's an interesting topic. We want it to be an interesting use of data science, right? Kind of contribute to the greater data science ecosphere, right? And then we also hopefully we'd want something that we can find with real world impact, right? Something that's going to mean something. That makes it a little bit more relatable to people. Maybe it certainly makes it into more of a commercial product, because who knows? Maybe a project turns into a startup that you find some collaborators with, and maybe you can develop a startup from it, right? So those are the types of things that I'm looking for when I want to start a project. So we're going to walk through an example of how I would develop a project idea and how I would determine how I want to go about it. And my intent today is I will only really present the structure of the project for you. And I'm going to leave it to all of you to, move the ball forward and execute the code or execute the overall development of it. Now, if you get stuck or you need help on the theory or something like that, I'm willing to help. And then you guys can kind of keep going from there, right? So I'm presenting this, just kind of putting it out there. And then I kind of want to see who picks up the ball and runs with it, right? Maybe you guys will want to work with it a little bit more, or maybe it doesn't interest you at all. Or maybe you just want to take the framework I'm laying out and do something else, okay? All right, so. Excuse me, sorry there, I pressed the wrong button. So we are going to be using a product by Meta known as Profit. In my opinion, I shouldn't say my opinion. I am consistently surprised by how lightly used this library is. So what is it? It's a library for time series analysis, for really quite advanced time series analysis. And it's really just not nearly as used as much as you think it would be. I've done a couple inquiries on some message boards and things like that, and I really can't find a lot of people that have adopted Profit, but I've used it for some client projects. Well, first of all, it was introduced to me by another data scientist who I highly respect, right? That's part of the benefits of collaboration when you get more into the industry, where you start collaborating with others and maybe they turn you on to different things that you didn't know about. So I was introduced to it that way. It's a very well documented library. It takes a lot of the complexity out of time series. So if you've done time series on your own, which can be done, you can do time series with pandas in a neural network, right? There's tools out there for that. It's pretty complex to do it on your own, but it can be done. Profit helps a lot with that. And I think it's a pretty good library for time series analysis. And as I mentioned, it's also very well documented, which not every library out there is, right? So that's why I like Meta Profit. I think it's really highly underutilized. In that lack of utilization, it might also signal an opportunity, right? Because a good tool is still a good tool whether people are using it or not, right? So that's why I think that there's an opportunity here with Profit. I've done some of my own experimentation. I'm not going to talk about the data that I was using, but I think that it is possible for you to take this and maybe develop something that maybe not a lot of people have seen before. Maybe there is an opportunity for a product here, right? Because there's, just not enough being done with time series. Right? Time series is not easy. There's not a lot of people you're going to find that specialize in time series, right? Some people, in fact, can maybe be a little intimidated by time series. So that's why I want us to focus on meta profit, and hopefully it'll give us something that, people find interesting. Okay. So what else do we need to do here? So if we know that we're curious about meta profit, what do we need to do, right? Because remember, whenever we're talking about libraries like MetaProfit, scikit-learn, learning Python in general, neural networks, all of these things, these are just tools, right? But we have to know how to work with them, right? How to actually utilize the tool. A wrench is only as useful if it's in the hands of a good mechanic, right? And the mechanic has to understand that wrench. So that's what we're going to do a little bit today, right? So the things that I want to know when I'm approaching this is, I want to know, one, how to get started with the library. Two, how can we, oops, excuse me, I made a mistake there. I want to know how we can apply a solid methodology, right? Because remember, data science is not an algorithm, it's not a result, it's not math. Data science is a methodology, it's a process. It's how you go about creating an algorithm that gives you a probabilistic answer, right?